Hello everybody, this is Wildfox. I've been promising you guys a story for one of my first good videos for this YouTube channel. And, well, I've decided tonight is the night I'm going to finally tell that story. And some of you who've been around for a while, you'll probably recognize the story. You'll probably remember, maybe some of you might even remember being there. A lot of you who haven't been around it as long as this story has happened, this will be kind of an entertaining story. I mean, it goes to show that sometimes something that happens at a convention it can carry for quite a long time and become a running gag for quite a long time. But tonight's story, the lawn chair incident. Now we're going to go back to 2006 Midwest Fur Fest back at the Hyatt Schaumburg. It's Sunday night. Convention's over. Closing ceremonies has happened. Half the convention's already left. The rest of us are straggling around, wandering around in full fursuits, getting our last moments of fursuiting in for the weekend. Now, of course, I'm down there running around in this suit. And I remember the incident pretty well, obviously. So here I'm wandering around. I see that it's kind of snowy outside, so I figured I'd go ahead and step outside for a little bit. As I stepped outside, Calamity Cougar was coming down, and he brought his lawn chair with him. And for some reason, in this little L-shaped hallway, the doorway is kind of like right here, and I was outside right here. For some reason, he decided to sit right there. Now, a friend of mine, Wildfox, which back then she was known as Butterscotch Vixen, according to her part of the story, she told me that apparently she sat in the lap of Calamity Cougar as soon as he sat down, and, well, apparently maybe might have started cracking the lawn chair. And she heard it got up and all that. And as this is happening, I'm still outside near the area where they were at. So she gets up. About that time, that's when I finally decided to turn around and head back inside. And I see a bit of a commotion and all that. And I walk in. And here I walk in. I look to my left. Here I see Calamity Cougar. I look at him. I point at him. I'm like, hey, look, a redneck Santa. So I proceed to go ahead, walk over, and sit down on him, not knowing what just happened. As soon as my weight ended up on his lap, the entire lawn chair collapsed under our weight. We hit the ground. There was a roar of laughter in the hallways. I started laughing because I realized what just happened. As I'm starting to get back up and I'm laughing, all of a sudden, I hear Calamity Cougar quickly stand up and shout, "My lawn chair! No! Why, God? Why?" As he's doing that, I'm standing up. I'm laughing. I open my eyes. The first thing I saw was Wildfox laughing her ass off. And I apologize for the language in this video. Anyway. She's laughing. As soon as I saw it, I just fell back on the ground laughing. I was laughing so hard. How hard was I laughing? I kept laughing for 10 minutes. I couldn't stop. I'm getting up. I'm still laughing. I'm walking around. I'm still laughing. I'm posing with random fursuiters in the hallway. I'm still laughing. Now, somewhere in this 10 minutes, somebody actually got a hold of the armrest off the lawn chair. I have no idea how the armrest came off. And he just handed it to me. I started laughing harder. So here I'm wandering around with the armrest in my hand. I'm kind of pointing at it. As soon as people see me pointing at it, they start laughing. Because they all remember what just happened in the hallway. And this carried on for a good 10 minutes or so. By the time I finally calmed down and finally My laugh finally calmed down to the point where I could finally breathe. So I'm kind of getting back in the relaxed position. Out of the corner, here comes Calamity Cougar stomping his way down the hallway. Grabs me by the wrist, starts dragging me down the other hallway. He's like, "Come on here, you Wildfox. I need to take you to the woodshed." Of course, I escape quickly, and I start backpedaling. So this whole time, Calamity starts chasing me down the hallways. He just keeps chasing me down around, talking in this redneck voice. "Yeah, you may be a wild fox, but I'm a wild cougar now. I'm gonna get you for my lunch here." This just carried on. I literally this was the running gag of the night. Everybody in the hallways was watching us the whole time because here I'm running from him. He's trying to chase me down, and this kept going. This kept circling. I'd get away for a little bit. He'd pose for a picture. Then he'd come chasing after me again. And he'd get close to me, and I have to try to run. He'd try to grab my wrist. I try to run. Of course, Calamity Cougar made a mistake that weekend also. He also informed me that he was flat-footed, so apparently he couldn't run. So I knew that in the back of my head. And so I just kept running. No, he couldn't catch me. Of course, somewhere in the middle of that, and this shows how far he took this. He went ahead and went to the Headless Lounge to take a break. About 5-6 minutes later, I decided to go ahead. I needed a break too. So I'm in the Headless Lounge. I'm starting to cool off. I look to the other side of the Headless Lounge. There's Calamity Cougar sitting there, staring me down. And I just looked over him. I don't remember how the exchange went too well, but I know it ended with something along the lines of, "He's down. I mean, it's just a lawn chair." "Just a lawn chair! I'll show you what it's just a lawn chair!" Wow. It just kept going. I mean, even everybody in the Headless Lounge was laughing. And this just continued on and on and on. And we get back out in the halls. He's back at it again. Carries on for a little while longer. And finally, it's getting close to late in the night. And he's finally cooled. He's finally finished off. He chases me towards the lobby area. And then I turn around and I see him kind of just slump his head. Turn to the elevators. Start walking towards the elevators. At that point, I decided to run up to the entrance of the elevator and start singing, "Na na na na, na 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 na, hey hey hey, goodbye." As soon as I said goodbye, he immediately turned around and started to come back after me, and I went running. Of course, I still remember he was flat-footed. He couldn't run, so I was able to get away every time. He continued on for probably about another 10 minutes, and then that's finally when he disappeared, and it was over for the night. So I'm thinking, okay, it's done. The joke's over. All right? We can all go home now, right? Next morning, we're packing up. I'm downstairs talking with people. Basically, us two, of course. And as I'm talking to somebody, what do I see in their shadow? Calamity Cougar. He just kind of walks up and just kind of stares at me, basically glaring. And he kept doing that the whole time. I'd go talk to somebody else. He'd get right into my point of view and just kind of stares me down. I think at one point too, he even got a kick in me. He kicked me right in the butt or something. I don't know where. I mean, I even looked at him kind of just like, "Hi." He wouldn't say anything to me. He just kind of stared me down. So later on in that morning, I'm starting to haul things down to my car. Wouldn't you know, I happened to run into Wildfox again, and she and I were heading to the elevator, and well, guess what? There's Calamity Cougar unloading his stuff on the cart. He's pulling it onto the elevator, and he just looks at us like, "There's no room for any lawn chair killing foxes in here." And the cow fox just perfectly said, "There's no room for any redneck cougars either." Perfectly Calamity just sunk his head just as the doors went shut. Hilarious moment. It's like, okay, fine. Let's continue on another day. Whoop do. I'm going to go home. We'll talk it over online, right? I get home from the con. Not even a couple days later, I wake up one morning for work. There's a voicemail on my phone. Guess who? Calamity Cougar. Call me up, talking about how he's gonna make me pay for his lawn chair, and how I'm just gonna, I don't know. He would do that, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 different times. At one point, he recruited Tony Ringtail to be his lawyer, and called me in the middle of the night one night. So here I'm sitting in the parking lot at work, listening to this voicemail. What sounds like some redneck lawyer talking about how they're going to take me to court over this. I'm like, wow, this is just one little incident, and this is getting blown out of proportion. And it just kept going from there, too. I mean, Tony, by the way, I want to mention Tony Ringtail admitted to me about a month or two later that was him. And I think it was over yet? No. Tilt Longtail, as everybody knows him, he found out about what happened. He and Greifer both found out about what happened. So they carried on with the joke, and they kept it going. Especially after he gave Calamity Cougar a ride, well, Calamity happened to leave a lawn chair in his car. So Greifer, in a perfect Greifer voice, "Oh, Calamity Cougar, you shouldn't leave your lawn chair in my car. You shouldn't do that. You know what happens when you do that?" And it just, I don't know, it just kept rolling on. I'm just thinking, what is going on here? This was just one little incident on Sunday night, and suddenly it's getting blown out of proportion all over the place. There was about at least a new video every month of lawn chair sacrifices, and it just carried on and on. And did I continue any of it? Well, actually, yeah, I did a little bit. Later that next year, at Method Fur Meet, I still had the armrest. And what I did was I took the armrest, drilled a hole in it, strung it up on a string, and I wore it around my neck as a necklace. I was kind of hoping Calamity would be there. Unfortunately, he was not. Tilt, on the other hand, was there. So he saw it, and I know I have a picture of him posing with me with that armrest around my neck. Of course, by then it's been like 7, 8 months since the incident, and by then things are finally dying down. I mean, it really got to the point where we ran out of gags for this, and the joke was dying. So it was pretty much, we had the last sacrifice, and but anyway, I mean, all I can say about that is, out of all my years of going to conventions, of everything that has ever happened to me at conventions, that easily was the best incident I've ever been involved in, the biggest incident I've ever been involved in, craziest incident I've ever been involved in. I mean, I'm sure this video probably will open old wounds with Calamity Cougar, but you know what? Hey, it's like how many years later? 12? I mean, I'm sure he's over it by now. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. It's a little bit of a story. I mean, nothing too big and spectacular, but hey, nothing too big and spectacular happens in my life anyway. So, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the story, and hopefully I'll have more story videos I could tell, or other videos. I mean, if anybody has any suggestions, feel free to send them my way. I mean, you can find me pretty much anywhere. Leave a comment or anything on this video. I mean, leave a question, and I might actually do a video and answer the question for you in person instead of just answering it in a reply. So if anybody got any suggestions, questions, whatever, feel free to send them my way, and maybe I'll make a new video at some point. But until then, this is Wildfox signing off, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a nice night.